Welcome back to the Fast Life podcast, which is brought to you by Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. There is no mistaking a Simpson out on the road. Their iconic and aggressive style has always stood out amongst other helmets. They have many different models, finishes, and visor options to fit your taste. Head on over to SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com and give them guys a follow at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on Instagram. On today's episode, we have none other than Danny motherfucking G. We were sitting at the house, the FXR division house, the day before Born Free, sitting in the living room, holding the mics in our hands. So the audio quality is going to be kind of up in the air on this one, but the content is solid. Anytime Danny G's on the mic, you're getting some knowledge, you're getting some insight to just the culture of all this rad shit in SoCal, Phoenix, and everything in between. So let's hear these sponsors, and we're jumping right into this episode. House of Harley Davidson, located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, has your HD covered with the performance upgrades we all want, along with service, sales, and a stacked parts department. Head on over to houseofharley.com where you can order the parts you need for your bike, along with all the best gear and clothing available. Drop the Fast Life offer code to save yourself 13% on your online purchases, and give these guys a follow at House of Harley on Instagram. Lexin Moto is my Bluetooth headset company and has been for over 3 years now. The quality and sound and battery life make those long days on the open road much more enjoyable. Their latest headset, the G16, is designed to make group rides much better with a 16-rider comm system, Bluetooth 5.0 music sharing, and fast USB-C charging. Among the many things Lexin does for our motor community, they also offer the best customer service in the industry. The team at Lexin just dropped their new Lexin Smart Tire Pump as well, which is a portable tire pump that can fit easily in your saddlebags. Check out lexin-moto.com to see all the awesome products, which are all designed to make life on two wheels better. And don't forget to drop the Fast Life offer code at checkout to save yourself 15%. And lastly, give these guys a follow on Instagram at Lexin Moto. Thundermax and their ECM computers are designed to provide your EFI-equipped Harley Davidson with the most advanced auto-tuning on the market. And they just released their modules for the 2021 and up HD models. A Thundermax ECM eliminates tuning hassles when upgrading your exhaust or air cleaner, or when adding a cam or big bore kit. Thundermax is also in the suspension game with their iRide rear suspension. This is a performance air ride, which gives you the ability to adjust many aspects from the handlebar mounted touchscreen. This rear suspension is the best of both worlds. Check out these products at shoptmax.com and use offer code FASTLIFE to save yourself 10% off, and follow Thundermax EFI on Instagram. I have been riding with Lucky Dave's seats and handlebars on almost all my bikes since 2016, and I'm happy to announce their partnership with us here at the Fast Life podcast. Their seats have always been the perfect fit for my ass, and with that trademark styling that I have come to love from the LD brand. Lucky Dave's also has some of the most dope handlebar options, from their classic San Diego bar to their Peacemaker bar and riser combos. They got what you need. I'm personally running the Peacemaker bars on both my T-Sport and Bagger. Head on over to luckydaves.com to check out all of their options for your HD, and grab yourself some swag while you're there. And lastly, give my guys a follow on Instagram at Lucky Daves. Now here we go with Danny G.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Well, Mr. G, we're back.
Oh, we're starting right now?
Oh, dude, we're fucking just going with it, man.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me talking?
Did you hear my song to Brooke?
I heard the laugh at the end. That's what we got. Well, we're here at Born Free 13, I believe, right? Yeah. Is that what this is? And
is it 13?
I think it is 13. And we're hand holding these mics, so if you hear a little bit of this, my bad. It's just what it is.
We're at the FXR division house, so there's a little bit of a pool party going on. Got some cooking going on. We have every year we got a 5-star chef here that cooks for us. A good friend of ours named Jake. So there's a little bit of movement going around. So hopefully we don't get too much background noise. But this is the quietest area we're gonna get.
Yeah, this is in the wild. This is a pre-born free party, I guess, at the house, and we're just kind of wrapping it up on the mics here. So, man, like we were just talking, man, when I pulled up and we were wrapping it up, and you were just talking about how, man, the last podcast, right? We do it. I come out to the pad in Oceanside.
Yep.
And then literally 2 months later, the world goes to shit.
I feel like, that's a different time period. I look at that time period as the same way I look at the 90s. Remember the 90s? Like, there was no problems. You know what I mean? Like, just go to, just have a few bucks in your pocket, go to a Primus show. It was just like, there was no issues, man. There's no fucking problems. The 90s were so chill comparatively to where we're at now. And then there's also now there's the pre-COVID days as well, where,
another turning point in our culture. Yeah.
Something that we could have never predicted where we'd be at right now. We had no idea. Like, listening to that or talking about that podcast, those are two dudes that had no fucking idea what we were about to see about a month later. We were in quarantine,
exactly. How was it for you guys down here? Well, you were bouncing back and forth between AZ anyway.
No, what I ended up doing pretty quick, I figured out that California was a shithole. Mm-hmm. Just of all the love I got for California, and Arizona has been kind of like a 20-year slow grow of me really falling in love with it. The COVID was the dividing line where, by choice, I stayed in Arizona throughout the entire COVID, whatever you want to call it. That was it for me. I would come back to California and try, because you drive all the way there, you make the effort, and I wouldn't make it more than 48 hours. They were roping the beaches off, like, bro, that's my beach.
Yeah,
you shitting me? Like, that's my neighborhood, dude. Like, what the fuck do you guys think you're doing? We pay for that.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who the fuck is anybody to rope anything off?
Yeah.
It disgusted me. In Arizona, the vibe, the energy. Like, California, I felt like everybody just laid down and took it.
Yeah,
which surprised me. It surprised me. Everybody just fucking took it. Arizona, everybody turned it into as weird as it is, they turned it into a party. They made it benefit them. It was like a forced vacation. It was like, all right, well, I'd never seen so many pool parties, never, it was a whole, the culture changed. It was like, it's always super rad out there, but Arizona really leaped ahead of how they handled COVID.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, maybe it was like a forced summer vacation for adults,
It's kind of was, The crazy thing is, not to jump ahead or anything, but like, I'll say, like, straight up right now, I don't like to say COVID, but I'll just say that time period, whatever it was, I kind of call it the gold rush too.
Yeah.
Everybody I know thrived. Everybody from every fucking industry, including myself. I've never seen money like that before from all different levels. I do a lot of different things, whether it's real estate, where if you were in the game there, you knew what we were all doing there, and then from Vans was thriving. Everything that I'm involved with just picked up and took the fuck off. If you were down to work, it wasn't free. It wasn't free money. It was, you ready to work? Okay, well, you're going to make double in what you ever made. Yeah. All my friends that swing hammers for a living, like, dude, they couldn't collect money fast enough. Everybody had waiting lists. Like, we weren't ready. Mm-hmm. It was just pure insanity. So I have no problem. I have no shame saying, like, 2020, 2021, best years of my life,
Yeah.
Everybody handled it differently. It was you could either panic about it and I stopped watching TV. Mm-hmm. I stopped paying attention to anything COVID related. I just tune out,
Yeah.
I didn't read anybody's Facebook bullshit. Everybody telling you to do. I just, I lost respect for quite a few people that, that were trying to tell people to mask up and all that. Like, I'll never forget somebody's shit, how you were, you know, like, I consider those people like they're soft, bro. Those are the guys that'll snitch in the end.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like, you did what they told you to do, you know?
If this all turns upside down, they're definitely not going to, you know, they're going to just.
Oh yeah. They're waiting for their next order, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. That was probably the hardest. That was probably the wildest thing, is watching so many people, you know, I mean, just like we said earlier, just comply. I mean, it wasn't as bad in Texas, but I mean, you get close to the city and you get the same shit. You know, people just like believing everything that's on the news, believing everything that's everywhere, and then trying to virtue signal towards everybody else because they're just want to do it their own way.
Oh,
like,
dude.
You know, like most of us ended up getting like fake vaccine passports.
Yeah.
So we can kind of, you know, because that wasn't a thing in 20. You could just do whatever, go anywhere. But then when they were pushing that vaccine in 21, it really didn't stick at all anywhere until like the end of 21. Right before, until the war started in fucking Russia shit.
Yeah.
It's like vaccines. You had to, like, me and my son went to New York and we had to get fake vaccine passports to be able to go into a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like, as much as I tuned out, I tuned in just enough to, you know, there's certain businesses I'll never support now. There's certain people that like I said, I've lost respect for, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not something that's like, I'm not even willing to argue over it or discuss it or anything. Like, I handled it how I handled it. And if you don't like it, fuck you. Yeah. And that's it, man. Like, I didn't really let it rent as much space in my head. It's like, I just tuned the fuck out, man. It was like, I worked as hard as I could every day. Hung out with my closest friends. We rode motorcycles on empty roads. You know, the no traffic thing was incredible. You know, I mean, who benefited the most from COVID was dogs, animals. Yeah. They got to hang out with their owners a lot more, you know, go everywhere. And, I literally just, you know, I woke up every day and you're thankful for just kind of what you have, how good things are going. Mm-hmm. And you just focus on the positive, you know, you don't focus on what they're saying on the news and this and that. Like, let me ask you something, like, how many people that you know died from COVID?
I only know one person but I kind of have a hard time believing they died from COVID because they were in such great shape.
Yeah.
I think that maybe COVID triggered something else. I just have a hard time believing.
Supposedly, from what I heard, the COVID mixed with pneumonia, because pneumonia will kill you fucking regardless, dude. Like, if you make it out of pneumonia, you're very healthy. You're very strong. Pneumonia is a straight killer. COVID mixed with pneumonia, and if your immune system is weak, it would take you out. Supposedly, you know. I was hearing that, and then so I had one friend that died from, they're calling it COVID, but he's a legendary dude in Arizona. Owned a bunch of shops, industrial ride shop. Name's Doug Butcher.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He fought cancer for 7 years, so he was just chemoed out to all hell. So his immune system was shot to shit. What sucked is he kind of sort of just, I guess he never really beat cancer, but it goes away for some time. You buy yourself some. Yeah, he had 6 months, and here we are 7 years later. He's still living, you know. Yeah. But then he got sick with pneumonia, went to the hospital, because even during COVID, he was living life like there was no pain. He was going, traveling, doing whatever the fuck you wanted to do.
Well, you think you want to spend those last months or years of his life fucking hiding in the house?
Yeah.
You know
so
what I mean?
he gets sick, gets pneumonia, and then goes to the hospital. They put him on a fucking respirator, which that was supposed to be, that's another killer. Once you go on, you're not coming off it. Yeah. And then he died a few days later. And they said, sometime in the course of going, from here to the hospital, whatever, like he got COVID too. He probably got it in the hospital, Yeah. And that killed him. And, one person dying from it is too many. But at the same time, I still wouldn't. I mean, fuck, dude. Add it to the 6 million other ways you can die, Yeah,
that shit was wild, man. And, just the political climate that was wrapped around that as well. I mean, we went through, regardless of how people voted, we went through 4 years of just drama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Drama every day on the news.
Yeah.
And then
it kicked off from the George Floyd demonstrations to the, they basically like every shitty thing that could get thrown our way did, and it's like, obviously like it's hard to talk about that kind of stuff,
it is
right now because we don't know the fucking truth with any of it.
Yeah.
And everything that we've seen is not what we've seen.
It's going to be some JFK shit that they're going to uncover some files in 50 years. Nobody's going to give a fuck at that time. And,
what we're seeing, and that's why I just don't even bother watching the news. Like, whether it's, whatever side you've chosen, they're both full of shit. And you're on one side, so you only watch their news. You're on the other side, you only watch the news that caters to you. So you're getting fed information to further your division from other people.
And it's crazy that people willingly do that. They willingly choose a side.
Yeah.
And it's like you should never choose a side in America.
Fuck no. You don't have to, man.
The side is that there's options and there's different viewpoints to help curate a very accurate and palatable viewpoint across the board. So that's why you have all these different perspectives. Some perspectives from one party are applicable. They're needed. They make sense. And then others from others are very much needed and make sense. Some you go too far in there, you get in this little gray area where it's like, okay, none of this shit really matters anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, just like you're automatically when you're born, you don't know it yet, but you're gonna get casted into one or two groups.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, and I'm like, fuck that. Like, perfect example. Like, I'm 1,000% pro-choice. 100 fucking percent, man. Who is anybody to tell anybody else what they can do? You can't make your own choices with your own life, your own body. Like, hell no, man. And that, because it goes so much deeper, man. I'm anti everything, anti seatbelt law, anti helmet law. Do I wear a seatbelt? Yeah, by choice.
Yeah.
Do I need a $75 ticket if I don't wear one? Fuck you. It just shows like they don't care about you. They don't give a shit about what happens to you.
Yeah.
They just want to control. It's about control. It's about revenue. It's about everything that they say it isn't about. So
yeah, and those kind of things get you wrapped up into a system. And man, I'm sure people that's getting wrapped up in it. And the deeper the offense, the harder it is to get out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to be straighter than you were, than you would have been if you didn't get in trouble, essentially.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is I also don't fit in with the rest of the people that in that group that are pro-choice at all. The majority of their beliefs. I'm on the other, you know what I mean? I'm pro-gun. I'm small government. Just stay the fuck out of our business, man. Everybody's voting for people to have more control over you. That's what we should be fighting right now.
Yeah.
They need to. It's the people gotta either start taking the power back or we're fucked. I'm starting to sound like a cult leader now or something, but that is honestly just how I feel, man.
Rioter.
Yeah. But it really is true, man. Like these people are so happy to be told what to do, to be led. Fuck that. Fuck that. Freedom.
Yeah, it's a.
I'm pro freedom.
Yeah, that was quite a crazy time. But like you just said, it was also like. It was one of the best years of my life. I traveled the country and saw more of the country than ever. I got to ride in New York City in Manhattan.
Yeah.
During COVID with empty streets.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's insane. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we went out to the block party. We were kicking it with the Clems guys and shit like that. And my first time ever going to New York, I got to experience that. It was just I traveled a lot, man. Me and my wife did the trip when we came and saw you that time. And then, me and the homies, we did a big trip. We did a small trip through the Smokies right when the riots were happening. The riots already happened. So what was happening now is they were trying to take down statues. And so we were over in the Smokies, like in Asheville and things like that in the North Carolina side. And you know, we're at the FXR jam and shit like that. And these like rednecks come up to us like, hey, y'all want to follow us down there? They're trying to take down these statues. We got to stop them. And I'm like, bro, I'm not playing that game right now.
I ain't trying to catch
I came
a
here
case
to
for a
drink a couple
statue,
beers and talk FXRs with the homies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was a weird one there.
It's just that's just like that. Like the only way I could describe it is I refuse to get sucked in. I'm not having it, man. I'm not fucking having it. I was pretty selfish before. I'm proud of it. Now it really is like I worry about what's going on my four walls. You know, like fuck all that other shit. I'm not getting sucked in. I'm not gonna, you know, go on with anybody's beliefs or anyone else's bullshit. Like what's in my head is in my head, and I'll carry myself how I carry myself, and that's fucking it, man. I'm in charge of me. You know, I'm not a part of any fucking group. Bullshit. If I feel it's wrong, well then I'll fight against it. You know.
Well, there was a lot. I mean, it was hard for. I mean, Born Free couldn't take place, and hell, Born Free technically couldn't even take place a year later in 2021. They had to kind of fill that void, and that's when they started kind of making the preparations to move it out of state. You know, that's why we have a Born Free Texas now. It was kind of like as a precautionary thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And man, it was just wild. But like I said, the highways were open. You know, we did Yellowstone that year. Sturgis was popping in 2020.
Yeah, I'm bummed I missed it. I wanted to go, and but I just ended up work was too busy.
Yeah,
you know?
We were super spreaders is what the news called us. And I don't know that I actually ever got it. I got sick in January this year for maybe a day. It kind of put me on my ass, and I'm sure it was COVID because it was just like I was just fatigued as fuck. Man. Like I couldn't get out of bed. You know.
See, the problem with me, I don't know if I've had it or not because my whole life, my whole career, I do this thing where Phoenix is where I go to work. It's where I got my hustle on. It's where all my business entities are, you know. So I go to Phoenix, and I don't keep hours. I work until I fucking fall over, and I kind of have a rough time of when am I gonna go back to Oceanside? Oceanside is where I go to recover for the most part. I still work. I still get up in the morning. I'm on the phone, doing emails, making shit happen. I never leave any money on the table. Doesn't matter where I'm at. Yeah. But most of my work is kind of satellite, you know. But Phoenix, I have things I have to do. I got a little warehouse over there. I got office. I got places I got to be. I got a bunch of meetings. A lot of movement. There's a lot of moving around, and I call it hitting a wall. I go and go until I hit the fucking wall, man. Like I'll be in the warehouse, doing stuff, and then all of a sudden I see lights coming from underneath the door. I'm like, what the fuck? That's the sun coming up. You know, like shit. You just lose all track of time. You're in the zone. I'm there to work. And then all of a sudden, man, sometimes after I just lose track of days, and I'll be like, man, I've been running this hard for 2 weeks. And all of a sudden my body just shuts down. It's like I get the shakes. My joints hurt real bad. It's like what feels like flu is coming on, and you start fighting it off. I might puke, you know. I just feel like dog shit, you know.
That's exactly how I felt, yeah.
And I did that heavily through COVID. I got my hustle on, dude. So I'm like, every time that would happen, you know, and I feel like shit for a couple days, and then I come back stronger than ever. And what I do is, that's what I know. I give myself time. Me and Blue laying on the couch, having snacks, chilling out, listening to music, and recovering, you know. I could have had COVID 3 or 4 fucking times. I have no idea. I'm not going to slam that thing up my nose to find out, you know. That. Everything about it is just so clowny too. You know what I mean? Like, is that really how you have to find out how you have it? You got to shove that thing up your nose all the way to your brain.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man. Nah, I'm good.
So Phoenix stayed pretty wide open, didn't they? They didn't really have as much of the lockdown, obviously, that Cali
Phoenix
did.
Phoenix is obviously, you know, Republican run. They were, you could tell the governor was just like, you know, guys, just, you know, use your best judgment. You know, don't make us enforce things we don't want to enforce. You know, so everybody restaurants kind of, you know, if you were a kook, you know, you closed your business, you know, because you were scared. You know, or maybe you made people wear a mask. You did the charade where you wear the mask until you sit down, and then you're safe when your knees are bent so you don't get COVID or something or whatever that's supposed to be. Everybody handled it differently in Arizona, but they kind of had a choice to handle it that way.
Yeah.
I always did there was a few businesses that I used to support, and I'd walk in with Blue and they'd be like, "Sir, you got to wear your mask." I'm like, "I have to wear it?" "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, I'll catch you guys another time." I never gave them an attitude or anything. Mm-hmm. Literally, I respect that. That's their choice they're making. You should be able to make that choice. Yeah. And I made my choice to go drop my money somewhere the fuck else. The beautiful thing too is because of that, I found like all these rad restaurants, all these, the restaurants that were like welcoming, like, "Come in, dude." Like,
yeah.
The other thing with me that I think maybe kept me safe from it, if I didn't get COVID, before COVID, I've been social distancing since second grade. Like, I don't let nobody within swinging distance of me, man, know? So I'm that type of dude. At an ATM machine or something, if you're like up in my ass, bro, I'll turn around. I'll be like, "Hey, homeboy, give me some fucking space here, Fuck out of here." I don't like people breathing on me. If you step on my shoes, we're probably going to fight,
Yeah.
I need space, man. I've always had space issues. So COVID, all I really did was I kind of kicked that up a couple notches. It gave me an excuse to be even more of give me my fucking space,
Yeah.
I think that was the one COVID restriction thing that actually made sense. Like, you know what? Stay the fuck away from each other. Let's not all this close talking shit and everybody up in each other's, all the crowded areas. Like, let's move the tables a little further apart.
Mm-hmm.
I was all for that. I was game. The masks I couldn't do. I did when I had to.
Yeah. I had to fly or some shit. I hated flying. I tried not to do it. I only had to fly one time during it. So
I just flew for the first time since COVID last night. And it's everything that I heard it is. There's no similarities to flying now. Because I used to fly almost once a week. I would fly back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Then
I got Blue. So with having a dog, I can't fly with him, I have some good friends that fly private too. So they brought me along and I got a little taste of that. Yeah. And that spoiled the shit out of me. That ruined flying for me
you
forever.
You don't have to do anything in there.
But just the way I remember it, man, I used to fly once a week. And it was from Phoenix to San Diego was a no-brainer. Like, God, it was like 45 minutes. You're on the ground. I used to walk right onto the plane. I was TSA pre-check. Like, I had all the goods. This time around, like, there's no similarity. It's such a derelict way of traveling. All these lowlifes, like airports filled with scumbags. People forgot how to act. Like, it's just horrible, man. I had a miserable time. And my night started traveling. It started at 8 o'clock. And I got to my house in San Diego at 1 in the morning because of delays that just popped up. Damn. I could have just driven there. I wish I did. You know, the drive is 4.5 hours. And
in Dallas right now, the Southwest is striking. They're all standing out in front of our airport because they're based out of Dallas.
So that's I flew Southwest. Like
so I don't know if it's Southwest. I don't know if they're just striking for more money or I haven't read into it. I just saw the headline and just said, "Oh, okay, that's happening."
That industry is in deep shit. They're struggling because it was just horrible all the way. From TSA to waiting for the delays to trying to get information. It was just shit, just a shit experience. I don't recommend flying at all. Ride or drive.
I was gonna skip Sturgis this year and take the wife somewhere. And we're talking about flying, but then all this shit popped up. I'm like, well, it looks like it's going to be a road trip somewhere. And other things cool about road trips is, like, when you get to where you're going, you have a vehicle already. You don't have to rent a car and, all that bullshit. So you just kind of have a little bit more freedom. You don't have to – you're not, like, controlled. Like, you don't have to be somewhere at a certain time to drop shit off. You might have to check out of the spot, by 11 or 12 or something like that. But after that, man, you're not like rushing to the airport to make a flight at 1:30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just takes time. Well, I think, man, it was financially, it was good. A lot of people, whether it was like the checks that people were getting, whether that was why they were spending money on bikes, I don't know. But the other thing, like, how do you feel about this? Right? Let me paint this for you. With the shortage of bikes over the last year and a half, it's made the cost of people that own bikes to sell them. We can get stupid money for it.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of like that because that's how it was with this shit in the late '90s. You know, you had a nice new bike and people wanted that.
Yeah.
You know
how hard it is to not cash out. Like, I have two. I didn't plan this, but I got two paid off diesel trucks. You know, the ones that fucking they're worth more now than when they were when I bought them brand new. A lot more, almost double. You know,
Insane.
and it's like the old me, I would have cashed out so long ago. It's a truck. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know, but I'm also one of those where I'm like, dude, there's no payment on it. I'm getting to that age where I'm getting a little more sensible.
Yeah.
I've had some pretty wild offers for my OG black and gray or black and silver Road Glide, the 2013. You know,
Yeah.
when people were literally like barfing money. I got some phone calls of like, yo, you want to come off that thing, you know? And I'm like, money talks, but knowing I won't sell it, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
And the offers were in the 50s.
Yeah.
It's a 2013 Road Glide with a nice paint job on it and some nice parts, you know? Like, it just blew my mind. Like, what the hell? But I won't sell it because I'm getting to that, like, a little more sensible, you know? And
Maybe
also
sentimental too?
And also sentimental, big time. I got memories on that bike, dude, that I wouldn't trade for nothing.
Yeah.
And that bike represents it, you know? So I didn't really used to be like that in my younger years. I think it's got something to do with getting older. You hang on to the good times. You start to realize how short life is, you know?
Yeah.
And you get a little sentimental with shit.
I do. I'm very sentimental. I'm the kind of guy that like will keep a keychain forever. You know what I'm saying? And hang it on the wall or some shit, you know, so.
You know what was trippy too? Like about like as far as the life-changing shit too, like something I remember is when we just, something that COVID brought to us was Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
We didn't know I didn't know what Zoom was until, so my business was run off of Zoom meetings. I've spent more time, you know, I spent hundreds of hours talking to a computer screen, you know, to hundreds of people that I can't even really see kind of, you know. That's the way Vans ran their business during all of that, you know. And then every once in a while, when it was a smaller meeting, like smaller departments and stuff, there would be like maybe 20 of us. You know, one of the sales managers or somebody would kind of just like go around the room and have everybody like where they're at. Because one person was in New York in Times Square. One person was in Jersey. One person was in Florida. Here I am in Arizona. There's another, you know, and you went around and they were like just giving little updates on what's going on. The person in New York would be like, well, everything's closed in the city, and they're like sitting. It was just funny because like the person was sitting in this small dark apartment. Like their mood, you could see it, you could feel it over Zoom. They were fucking miserable. Yeah. And then here I am, like I didn't really mean to come across like this, but like I'm out sitting by my pool, you know, got a fucking tank top on. I'm just chilling, like, you know, this was like the colder months, you know, and everybody's all just stuck inside, and I'm like, yo, we've been like having pool parties every night, riding. Like, I didn't know if that was like the smartest. I just wanted to, like, yo, you could have fun during this. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to listen to what they're telling you to do, and you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be miserable. Like, make yourself comfortable with like being outside, and that's what I said. I go, I've never spent so much fucking time outside in my life. Like, what a blast, you know? And that was like a thing where you saw like, God damn, these poor bastards. I'm glad that my mindset isn't where they can't escape that. Yeah. They can't get out of their own heads, man.
What's been weird is how many people have, you know, obviously it's kind of been a hot topic too lately. The amount of people that's been leaving California.
Yeah.
And how many people and how they're already starting to change politics in the places that they're moving to.
See, I have a hard time believing that. You know, that's one of those things where like I tune out, man. I hate these conversations because it's like, are they really? Because you know what I mean. I know is Arizona is you're there for 10 minutes and you could figure out who runs that fucking state. You know, it's not run by Democrats at all. Not even close. Not even close, man. Like they advertise it so much over there.
Yeah.
you got to have a set of nuts on you to run anything Biden over there, you know?
Man, Texas is completely opposite, where the majority, I mean, the state's so big that the smaller areas still kind of add it all up, still kind of overpower the cities a little bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, Austin is just such a melting pot for just that kind of mindset.
Like they're actually having anti-gun demonstrations in Texas.
Yeah,
which
big
is
time.
like that doesn't make any sense. That's what Texas is, man.
It is. You know, it just sucks because that recent school shooting that was, you know, horrible that happened there. It just doesn't. What was sad, man, whenever that shit happened was just like how quickly, before the sun even set that night, how quickly it was already a gun control conversation. Yeah. And the fact that it took place in Texas, which everybody, you know, I feel like Texas has been getting targeted by like the big government because of how they've been trying to push back. And I guess we're pretty loud with it. You know, like Texas has been kind of loud with a lot of controversial issues, Republican or Democrat. And then, you know, Florida, their governor's just been fucking kicking ass. Yeah. And I'm kind of stoked if he is running for president. I think he is putting in his nod for that. I'm down. DeSantis. Daddy DeSantis is what they call him.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know, with the school shooting thing, I'm just baffled at like, how come I can't go into a courthouse without emptying my pockets, going through the ringer there and all that, and like, you know, the inconvenience of like going and doing all that, which I get it, I guess. We got to protect, there's 4 judges, I guess. They're superior to an average person. Like, okay, we can't protect our kids like that. We can't make schools like, shit's got to fucking change. But it's not really, I don't think the source is the gun. I think it's the fucking security. There's security up the asshole everywhere. I can't.
People
skateboarders, we know we can't go skate anywhere without getting kicked the fuck out by some jackass. That's protecting an empty building. They're closed. Well, get that guy, get him. Let's get the same type of dude that's going to run out and chase 12 skateboarders off. Let's get a guy a little more, with a set of nuts on him that will fire back and will protect, and let's lock some doors. And we're so like, we're locked up with like, fire code shit and this and that, and I get all that, but I agree. School shootings got to stop. It's fucking disgusting. It's the worst possible thing, man. Like, but there's ways around it besides going after the guns, man. Like, they're not even realistic about it, because the way they do it, the guys that go after the guns, they make themselves so unlikable, because the problem might be, okay, you don't like the AK-47, you don't like these assault rifles, if that's what they want to call them. They love that name, These guys are going after guns in general. They're making like law-abiding citizens that just want to protect their house or just want to never be a victim. You're guaranteed you're not a victim, And then they're going after those dudes. And I'm like, bro, you're alienating yourself into where I'm always going to vote against you.
It was even a hard thing to even pitch after you saw how the police folded over after the George Floyds and the riots. People were worried about their houses getting looted. And, and then the whole thing, and what was the thing in San Francisco? Like, you can steal up to $999 without conviction.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get all these kind of things going on. It's like, and any gun owner that's done a gun safety course will tell you that, like, the last thing that they ever want to do is pull the trigger. Yeah. Because they know that they're going to have to go through the ringer.
Oh, God, yeah.
And that's why a lot of people do join, like, NRA and things like that for the help that comes with if you have to pull the trigger. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, and they make a mockery of it, too, where they say, like, oh, they're trying to put guns in teachers' hands. Like, I don't think anybody's really trying to put a gun in freaking, Mrs. Butterworth's fucking hands, second grade teacher. Like, we know better than that. Just security. Why can you walk up to any school and walk into the school unchecked and walk into a classroom unchecked? What the fuck is that? Yeah. Show me another building downtown that we can go do that at. You got to walk through, at the minimum, you've got to get checked in, Yeah. Shit, man. If that's, like I said, I guess we all see things through different eyes and we're all entitled to our own opinions. But, man, like, what is it? We can't afford it? We just sent $40 billion to what the fuck's going on somewhere the fuck else, you know? So it just all baffles me. And that's why for my mental health, I just got to tune the fuck out, man. I can't dive into that. You know why? Because I got a life to live. Life is short. There's motorcycles to be ridden. You know, there's good times to be had. And you know, you just got to stay positive and do what you can to make sure you make the most out of your life. Be selfish.
Yeah, I've always preached the selfish route. It's a good one to live by. I mean, obviously, you know, take care of the people you love and shit, but you know, don't skip out on what you could be doing for yourself. Why'd you decide to do another Road Glide? Did you sell that last one?
The white one, the mystery one. Yeah, a friend of mine wanted that. A really good friend of mine that I consider family wanted that bike since the day I finished it. He wasn't quiet about it. He's not one of those like spoiled assholes that's like, oh, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse, you know?
Yeah.
That was more of like, I call it the friendship tab, you know? He has done so much for me and my family. He treats my father like he's his father. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where like, bro, if you want the bike that bad, man, you know, give me what I got into it, and I let him have it, man. It made me feel good, you know. And he appreciates that thing and the way he takes care of it, and he's just such a good dude. Like, he's really low key about it. He's not like social media guy, you know. He's just a good friend of mine named Brad. You know, he'd probably be embarrassed that I even said that I gave him the bike. You know.
Yeah.
I had way bigger offers for that bike because that was I look at it and I'm still like, why did I sell that bike? You know?
Yeah.
I had to even up the score on the friendship tab. Like, he's done way too much for me to just ride his dream bike in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, bro, go ahead. I'll do another one, you know, because I was starting to get, when I get ideas for bikes in my head, I can't shake them, and I'm not going to give them away to some asshole that's just going to take credit for it, you know?
Yeah. So
I'm like, dude, you know, I wanted to kind of do a tribute to that, that bike, the 117, the last gold one that I did in 2012. That's one of my favorite bikes that, you know, I've ever ridden. So I was like, let me do an M8 version of that. And then, you know, a highly built one, you know, with a 128. And then the other thing was, I just kept thinking about it, and I was like, let me do something that I always swore I would never do. Like two things. Like, I always say I'd never get married, and I'll never do a bike project with my best friend Chip. Because we'd wind up hating each other. You know what I mean? Like, marriage is the dumbest fucking thing any man can do. And maybe I'll get to that later. But also, building a bike with one of your best friends is like guaranteed. There's too much money involved. There's too much fucking ego. There's way too much whose idea was what and what you have to do. And I'm like, nah. I always, you know, all these years I've supported San Diego Customs as much as I could, from being on the podcast to whatever, you know. They know that I'm family, but I've never spent a dime with them or done any projects with them because I'd rather keep it friendly, you know. Just in case, you know. But I started to think about it. I'm like, maybe we've grown up enough, because I've known him for, I think Chip goes back 20 years. I've been with Vans for 14. I've known Chip for at least 5 or 6 years before that. Yeah. So we're like, there's 20 years of a really good friendship there, with two dudes that are mentally unstable, you know. I could comfortably say that, you know. Yeah. And that's a special thing, man. I didn't want to fuck that up. I really dig Chip and respect his knowledge and what he's done. How can you not, you know? But I've always liked doing my own thing, you know. I like that Danny, you know, the silver black bike. That's my fucking bike, you know. Not any shops or not any. I never was really ready to share ideas, you know. I've considered it with FXR division, you know, just because me and Big Chris are family. But, you know, me and Big Chris get into an argument. Let's say we wind up fighting. I'm probably going to wind up holding the L on that one. And who wants to volunteer? Like, I don't want to pay somebody money to build a bike with me and beat me up. So that's kind of where I see FXR division. Like, that's where that would end, you know? I walk out of there with a half-built bike and a broken jaw. So I like my chances going.
So you're just looking for somebody you can bully?
Yeah, no, well, not even that. Like, I don't know if I could. I don't know if anybody could actually win. Do you really win a fight with Chip?
No, you don't.
Because he's just gonna keep coming back, man. You know what I mean? That's a real
It's like a pit bull
psychopath, dude. Yeah. You know, but with Chip though, it's like I felt that like, you know, we have gotten older. We've slowed down a little bit. You know, there is a lot more weed involved, you know, in our lives.
Well, last time we talked, he was going on some vision quests.
Yeah, man.
And I wonder if
I don't know if he's come back from that yet.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to follow up with any of that and find out where his.
You know, the thing with him lately, which pisses me off, is I don't know why the whole world thinks I'm his agent, but every time I go somewhere, and I'll get recognized from, you know, the podcast or just whatever he has going on, you know, the dude comes up to me. And I know it's going to happen. He's wearing the performance bike uniform, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey man, I listen to the podcast, this and that." And I'm like, "Here it comes, here it comes." Hey, is Chip like not doing like the jerker thing anymore, or like because he's really backed off of the whole.
Yeah.
Because he used to sit out there for hours and obsess over the jerkers with the nicknames and the shit. People really enjoyed that, you know. Me, I laughed at it, you know, most of the time. But I also would worry, like, my friend is losing his mind. You know what I mean? Like, a sane person doesn't sit out there and fucking obsess over that. Like, it's a unique thing, you know. And he's kind of mellowed out on it a little bit. And even I miss it. Everybody's missing it, you know. And they all come to me. I'm like, I don't know, ask him.
Yeah.
But they're afraid to ask him. They don't want to ask him, you know.
Maybe you come off as the easier person to talk to, like an agent, like you said.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, well, I feel like I can get the information I need from old Danny G
from
over
Danny,
here.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad that people are comfortable with talking to me about it. But guys, I don't know what's going on with the jerkers, man. He lately he's been kind of going back to it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's got anything to do with the DMT or the visits or whatever.
Do they still have the weed thing, or did that move? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
we've been cranking out some bikes the last year. I mean, and pretty innovative. You know, I've had on these podcasts as the performance bagger heat up every year, it heats up again, because it's really a nationwide thing of some bangers, people that built some badass shit. But there's also like the thing that we've had to go back and like say, you know, because when I first got into this, I might have told you before, but it's like, I've always known of you and your bikes, but it was out of sight, out of mind. Because because if you think about it, San Diego Custom doesn't post that much. They really don't. Comparative to most brands, like you don't see as much of their builds once they're done. Yeah, you see them on the lift a couple times, and then you never see them.
And then they're on to the next. Yeah,
right. And then, but your bikes we do see.
Yeah,
you know, you'll usually have some dope photos done and whatnot, and so it was out of sight, out of mind for a while. I was like, well, who the fuck is in Cali building performance baggers? And then talking with you and him, and I was like, fuck, y'all did that in like late 14, 15.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay. So that gives us a kind of a start date for some of the first custom ones. I mean, people have been putting the T-bars on them for a minute, I imagine.
Yeah.
But coming out the gate with the kind of style of bikes that they've built over the years, it really kind of kicked off with your bikes that you did with them back then.
No, I didn't do those with those. I didn't do any bikes.
Or I
with
mean,
them.
just your bikes.
Yeah, my bikes. Yeah, the only bike I've done with them in any capacity at all is this one here. That is definitely my favorite bike I've ever ridden. Like that thing is. I mean, it's there's things that Chip made me do on that bike that I would normally half-ass. You know, I guess I got no shame in saying that, but like. I've never had an aftermarket swing arm. Are you kidding me? It's like fucking $8,000, you know? Like, it's a Rolex. It's like putting on a Rolex and then wearing a long sleeve shirt over your watch, you know? Like, fuck that, man. Like, how much better is the bike in a ride? And Chip was like, hey, homie, I don't give a fuck what it costs, dude. Like, we don't do SDC bikes with stock swing arms on them.
Yeah.
I'm like, you bastard. We fought about that, you know. We got into a good old-fashioned Orange County Chopper style fight over that. Like,
throwing some shit.
You know, I think I punched the door or something, you know. Like, it got wild. It got intense. I didn't want to do it. And then I actually saw the Alloy Art one. And then they did some custom one, you know. They spit out that custom one for me.
The Alley Art one is probably the one I dig the most out of everyone's.
I really
it's got the thickness that you expect to have on a bagger.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Then I had Andy paint it, which, once again, fucking having Andy fire the old paint gun, get in your wallet, like it looks amazing, but that's jewelry on that bike,
It's art, man.
Do I feel a difference? I don't fucking know, man. That bike is so far ahead. I can't really pinpoint why it's so much better than anything else I've ridden, I had the white road glide set up real nice,
Yeah.
But this one, went with the Oleans all the way around. We didn't leave it. There's nothing left alone on it,
Yeah.
The motor, the way that bike cracks, man, like, it's fucking frightening, dude. I really, really, really enjoy the bike, man. It makes you giggle. I think about riding it and I get so fucking hyped. It's another level than anything else that I've done. You
said it was the first time you did like a 128 kit.
That's the biggest motor.
So how much do you like that?
I feel every extra inch of that thing, man. Yeah. Fucking from built 114s to 117 to that 128, man. Tuned by. Obviously, and we get every little piece of power that you can get out of that because Hero tuned it. Okay. So, I mean, that's it right there, man. Like that bike, it really is. Like when you talk about fun, these bikes, they're rolling pieces of jewelry, but they're really fucking fun to ride. And you ain't got to baby them. I rode the shit out of that thing coming down here and split lanes and threw that thing around. I put that bike anywhere I ever put any of my FXRs or my Dynas,
Yeah.
And you know how we do it here, man. It's triple digits all the time. So that's what I like about it, man. It's like, fuck it. This is what we do. Ride this goddamn thing, man.
Yeah.
We don't go easy on them. They don't live the one thing that I always see too, like that I hope people know is one thing that Chip does. He always posts that showroom pic of all the bikes in the showroom, Mm-hmm. And I'm like, do people know that those bikes get the shit kicked out of them too? Mm-hmm. Like those are not showroom bikes. That's where they stay. But Saturday, Chip will take one of those bikes out and beat the fucking brakes off it, and then bring it back, park it, all good. Sunday, he grabs another one. Mm-hmm. And what does he feel like riding today? He lives that life,
Yeah.
But Chip, if you ride with Chip, he's not not much of a cruiser. He gets down with it. So those bikes get put to the test. He needs to know that because when they do these bikes, they have their kind of style that they've coined, and what they do, they do push that SNS 128. They believe in it because they've put miles on it and beat the shit out of it. So that's why I was so comfortable with doing that.
Yeah.
All of my bikes, from my FXRs to my Dynas to my black and silver Road Glide, those bikes never leave me stranded. I don't have the biggest motors in them. I got crispy motors. I don't get left behind. I don't lose races,
Yeah.
I just don't have big giant motors, well built. From the old days, I always had the well built 95s, all the way up to the 113s.
Yeah. Well, that's the way to do it. I mean, if you want to just sit there and brag about what you spent on the gram or at a bike night, go ahead and get the 155 fucking, but how that stuff becomes unrideable at some point. I wouldn't say unrideable. It just becomes unrideable in the sense that it's a lot more of a bitch to ride it.
Well,
it's overheating. Yep. It's just fucking, it's those big ass motors. They shake like a motherfucker. So they break more things.
Yes. Yeah, so, they find every other weak point in the bike that's
exhaust
not ready for that.
Brackets are going to be going left and right. You're going to be rattling out bolts, regardless of how much Loctite's on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've noticed it even with the 128. Like, I used to be able to, riding through like tight shit in a parking lot type stuff and really like dipping in and out. You got to be careful with that one. That clutch is an on and off switch, man. It's no longer a clutch. You're either moving or you're stalling.
Yep.
And that's where I've noticed that power, where like you can't lug that bike.
Yeah.
You got to get down with it, man, or slow it down to almost a walking pace,
Yeah, that's been the hard thing about this trip is, especially coming back through California. I mean, I'm okay at splitting. I'm not as good as a local, right? But I'm okay.
You got to grow up here. Like you've got to do it.
Yeah.
It took me some years. Like it's not something you just come out and just do.
Yeah. It's on the Road Glide though, it's such a wide bike, and some highways are just made for it.
Yeah.
Like they're just wide enough, especially when you got that thick ass HOV lane with the double lines.
Yeah.
But then when you get in, like coming through the 101 through the valley up there, it's a fucking tight little 3-4 lane highway.
Yeah.
And there's a wall like right on the line, and people don't fucking move over.
When I'm coming through at, I've slowed it down now to about, it used to always be, 90, 85, 90. Mm-hmm. Now I'm 70, 75 in the gridlock shit,
Yeah.
Which people still consider like, that's insane. Like one wrong move and it's over, But for me, it's like, no, I could stop that bike pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And I have a pretty good sense for what's going to do what.
Yeah.
And even at that speed, that 70 to 75 gap, you could still pull your clutch in and rev too, and let it go, and not like, you don't want to be doing that going 100, Mm-hmm. But the bike, it's still comfortable. So if you feel like you got to wake somebody up a little bit, they're 10 cars ahead. You see them kind of looping around a little bit. Yeah. You wake them up with a little rev. You're good to go, and it's not so hard on everything,
We've had 50-50 on people that move and get in the way.
Yeah.
We've had a couple. We had this chick up in NorCal just get in the middle of the fucking, like, in the lane, like in the middle.
Yeah.
We try to go around her on the right. She'd move all the way to the right lane. It was just like some hoe shit, man.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's when you lose your mirror.
Yeah. I was like, man, I don't fuck. But then I feel bad too because I'm like doing all this shit and I'm like got Texas plates on it. So I wonder if they're like, oh, this motherfucker don't even live here and shit like this. I'm just out here for the splitting, dude.
Yeah.
But I love it. We blasted down to San Diego, Wednesday night. We stayed down in Encinitas, or how do you say it?
Encinitas. Encinitas.
I don't fuck. I need to see the word to remember how many fucking T's and I's I had.
That's rad.
We went down there and we hung out. We were gonna stay in Oceanside, but we kept just moving down the highway, and next thing you knew, we were fucking. We passed Carlsbad and everything.
Yeah,
it was fucking. Sun was going down. We just didn't want to stop riding.
Oh man, there's in between Oceanside and Encinitas. God, there's some beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been running that road. I've been running that stretch. That's only 12, 15, 20 miles at the most.
Yeah.
That stretch is so fucking beautiful. You never get tired of it.
Yeah,
never.
And so, we were going down there to. I was a guest on the LFG guys. It's Let's Fucking Go. They're kind of a new brand down there, and they're all sober guys, right?
They're sober.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
But their page. You look at their Instagram, man. They're living as wild as we are. They're just
How sober are they? Because I consider myself sober, but I smoke weed.
They don't.
There's
they do that.
They don't
either.
even fuck with weed.
I don't think so.
Oh my god! To me, weed that's medicine without side effects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's, God, man. If I couldn't even imagine life without it, man. I preach it. So that's the weird thing. Sober is like, if you don't drink, do hard drugs. Mm-hmm. I say you're sober. If you can smoke weed, man, it's not a drug,
Yeah.
But that's in that community. That's like their own little battle, Some of them do the pens, and I'm like, bro, just fucking smoke a blunt, bro. You know what I mean? Like, just style is everything, and you look like an asshole with that vape pen.
I can't tell you how many people's houses I've been where pounds of weed is a normal thing in the house.
Yeah.
Like, I've got pictures of myself with trash bags of weed in a couple different houses in Cali on this trip.
Man, when I say that my life in the last few years has been the best it's ever been, and we credit COVID, we credit the gold rush, we credit the all the money we made and this and that. Weed is a big thing on there. Mm-hmm. Like, it's up there with my dog.
Yeah.
There's these factors of like, why am I having so much fun? Why is my head so clear? Why is things so good? Why am I so tuned out on negativity? Weed is it's got a part of that, and I'm not a day smoker.
Yeah.
I smoke at night. I got my routine, man. I put on some appropriate music and I smoke a pre-roll at night, and it helps me wind down and it helps me tune out because my mind never stops thinking of ideas to the point where it's unhealthy. I can't sleep. Yeah. I'm always thinking of shit, you know?
I end up going in the garage a lot and just kind of like doodling and sketching and drawing and shit because did she just fill my glass with another beer?
Wow. She did it so slick too. Yeah, if you guys don't, you guys can't see this, but Big Chris's wife is like hashtag
she's
goals.
a ninja.
She's like seriously the raddest person on the planet. I don't want to take anything away from Chris, but a lot of the reason why he's who he is because of her. As corny as that might sound, man, she runs the show straight up. From FXR division, he's the face.
She needs to put on a master class for these women out here.
Yeah, man. She's awesome, man. Like, I'm a little biased. Like, she's like family to me too. I like her. I'm actually closer with her than I am Chris, I think. She's just an awesome person, man. She rules, and she's over here like somehow she's been steady supply of beer with you. Like, that was kind of a ninja style. She just
I didn't even see it.
Down.
Just out of the corner of my eye, I saw the glisten. I was like, I thought I drank that shit. So, it's all cool, man. But what is your what type of weed do you smoke? Because
indica.
Indica,
strictly indica, no hybrid, no sativa.
And that's
I don't want it.
That's a body, right?
Indica, I feel for
It's
indica. I'll just tell you what it does for me is it slows me down in a good way and relaxes me, puts me in the best mood. And it just makes me feel because you don't want to try and accomplish anything with it. If I do feel like, I'll do some emails, I save them until the next morning just so I don't sound like Jeff Spicoli on the email, as I'm talking to like real estate investors and shit, but it just puts you in this like very, very comfortable. Any like aches or pains you might have, like my knees are fucking always hurting and everything, but whatever. That's skateboarding my whole life. It's takes care of pains, aches, anything going on in your head that's bumming you out. It just chills you out. It kind of resets you and gets you in the mood to go to sleep.
Yeah,
like I'm good now. I'm ready to crash out.
Yeah, I've smoked before where it was just something that gave my body this comfortably numb feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which
that probably indica.
I've never really like done any deep dives into like anxiety and shit like that, but I know I have it, right? But it's my body that tenses up my mind, if that makes sense. And so whenever my body just kind of, that's why I do a lot of like microdosing on mushrooms and shit like that. Yeah,
I remember you saying that on the other part. See, I won't go that deep into any of that shit. Even smoking weed was a tough thing for me because, I prided myself on being sober for all these years, 20 years, whatever. But now, the last few years, it's like my only regret is not discovering weed sooner. I wish I was like OG weed smoker.
I wonder because so how old were you when you really kind of picked it up, like the weed?
It was about probably 4 to 5 years ago.
Okay, so I feel like some people that like myself. I've met people that are kind of wired like I am, and they just like weed was just it was too much for them. It took way too much. It quieted too much in the mind, right?
Yeah.
Made it too kind of froggy. But I feel like maybe once you hit that certain age where, it's kind of, I don't know, like the age, and then what it does to you, it kind of you hit a balance point where it's all good.
Yeah.
Because even guys like Rogan talk about how they it wasn't for him in his younger years.
Yeah.
But once he hit like 39, I believe, it was just, he was off to the races.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I think it was just more of I just liked being the sober, 100% sober all the time, on point, ready to go. I credited, I'm kind of hard on myself with like my lack of schooling and, I catch myself like, I'm just lucky, like whatever. Like, nah, fuck that, man. I work hard. I do my thing. I'm always sober. I'm always on point. I'm always ready to talk business. I'm never some asshole somewhere that's unreliable. You could always rely on me. Call me at 2 a.m. Let's get it going. Let's go make some dough. Yeah. I just always liked being that guy. Like, G can handle it.
Yeah.
So I never really wanted to mix the weed thing in. I felt like I don't want to be known as like, but the way that I smoke weed is, you don't really see me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm by myself. Like it's before bed. It's kind of a routine thing. Every once in a while, like, you know what? Tonight there's a joint going around, and I know that it's indica. It'll have to be mine because I only trust my shit. Because if it's anything else, man, that paranoid high shit, that'll fuck me up, man.
See, that's why I don't like that shit.
Yeah. I can't be doing that, bro. I've actually, like me and Big Chris, bro, we've had our doors kicked in. You know, my door's been kicked in 5 fucking times. So you put me on that wrong shit, you get me on a paranoid high, and the wind blows and the garbage can rattles outside, bro, the feds are coming. You know, like that's what I'm thinking. And it ain't gonna be good, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be that dude on the news running down the street naked because the feds are chasing me, you know? The PTSD is a motherfucker, man. So that's why I make sure that when I got into weed, I found the strain that worked for me. It's not a paranoid high at all. It's very comfortable. But you can still get yourself into bed. There's no side effects. Yeah. You know, I really enjoy it, man. It's definitely something I look forward to it, you know?
I hear you, man. I want to start trying it more. My goal, you know, I turned 40 this year in 2 months. And so my goal is not necessarily to quit drinking, but I want to start dialing back and being more conscious of how much I drink.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, we did the podcast with the Goo last night. So we talked quite a bit about, you know, working out and shit like that. And that's something else I've been wanting to get into as well.
That's a disciplined man right there, man.
Yeah, he is, you know. And so, yeah, it's just like, you know, this year, this 39, this last of my 30s, it's been full of, and it still is full of, trying to solve all the shit I've been procrastinating, taking care of for the last, you know, 10, 20 years of my life.
Yeah.
And trying to go into this next chapter with is good a grasp and as many problems solved from what I'm going to essentially think of as my previous life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And try to just take over as much of the positive shit that I've accomplished or fell into, and just try to be more mindful of like drinking, because I didn't drink in my 20s. You know, I've only drank for the last 9 years of my life.
Yeah.
But you know, I was 180 pounds before I started drinking.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting at 250.
40 is a good crossroads to do that, because like I didn't even think about my health until, you know, I was just a fucking steamroll psychopath, you know, young man strength, you know, running on anger and testosterone up until 40. And then I had to start really watching. I watch what I eat. Everything that goes into my body, I know it has an instant effect, whether it be something as simple as heartburn or whether it makes me feel good, you know? And that's where I'm at. Like, I won't do it. You know, like this weekend I'm going to be a bad example, because I'm going to eat pasta tonight from a 5-star chef that you don't say no. Like that's something totally different.
For sure.
Sound like a hypocrite, you know, but from my day to day, I avoid the drive-throughs. I've definitely mellowed on the soda. Mm-hmm. I'm just very conscious about, I'm not a health nut like all my friends, like, you know, the guy that's family to me, you know, Losal. Mm-hmm. He lives like a soldier, man. You know, like everything that goes in we had sushi the other night, and he ordered like a sushi salad type thing, right? Mm. So he's like flicking the mangoes off of the salad, like pushing them off to the side. And I'm like, fuck you doing? You don't want those? And I'm already taking them off the, like, you're not going to eat those? He goes, no, that's garbage. That doesn't need to go into your body. I'm like, dude, to me, anything that grows on a fucking vine or in the dirt or whatever, like, or it comes off a tree, it's not bad for you, you know? Yeah. But to him, he goes, it's unnecessary sugar intake. I don't need it. And I'm like, where do you get your joy from, dude? You know what I mean? Besides beating people up.
Well, that's always been one of the things, like the, you know, as much as I would love to be that super health fit kind of guy and have that kind of vibe on social media or whatever, or just in real life, I also just want to be the guy that can just, you know, have fun.
Yeah.
Like, man, let's go have you know, babe, let's just go have nachos tonight. Yeah. That shit sounds good. You know,
as long as you're willing to take the consequences from it of shitting your pants later, or the heartburn or whatever it is, you know. I do it as little as possible. But like I said, this weekend I'm going to eat whatever the fuck is made out of that kitchen. I will never follow any type of, you know. Of course, you know, Lauren he's a big influence on me, you know. And he's a lot of the reason why I've straightened up my act and was able to, you know, I get in the gym 3 days a week now. I don't do it 3 times a day, every day, like he does,
yeah.
you know. Everybody, you got to find your happiness, your comfort level, you know, like guys like Jerry, like Goo,
Yeah.
like Lorenzo, like Grissom, like Big Chris. You know, Big Chris been a monster since the day I met him. He don't take a day off. You know, it's just what he does.
Yeah.
The way they live, the way they work out, they don't have a choice. If you take the gym away from Big Chris, his mind will go south. You know.
Yeah.
I could only imagine if you know. Oh, I mean, not that I've seen Lorenzo slip, but you know, on road trips and shit like that, like. If the food's not 100% on point, yeah, he gets a little fucking cranky.
Yeah.
That's not a good dude to be around when he's cranky, you know. People get hurt. So,
Better get this guy some steak.
yeah, man, let's get this guy some leafy fucking grains or whatever, man, because he's making the whole house nervous. But these guys work out to that level. They do it. They're doing it. Yeah, of course they appreciate. They like looking in the mirror afterwards and they're like, yo, I'm fucking proud. Look at what I did, you know. These aren't young guys either, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
They pride themselves on it, but also they're doing it. Every one of those guys, I am personal friends with all of them. They all do it for their minds. It's their head. They're taking care of their head first, and then healthy mind, healthy body, you know.
Okay.
It all works together as one, man. When you turn 40. When you're 25, you could eat McDonald's, fucking beat the shit out of everybody, do whatever you want to do, not sleep, fuck all day, walk around with a boner half the day. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that's not the way you live in your 20s is hilarious, man.
What's up, guys? I need to drop in real quick and give a big thank you and shout out to Thundermax EFI for helping me make this podcast trip possible. I just got home from a 28-day, 7,200-mile bike trip where I at least filled up my gas tank once a day. My 131 was humming through the desert, mountains, forests, and even plenty of rain. The Thundermax ECM kept my bike running and operating like a champ. With its auto-tuning technology, the elevation, humidity, and temperature changes never affected my bike's performance. Their ECMs are a must for anyone looking to add all the Go Fast goodies to your EFI-equipped Harley Davidson. My Road Glide is paired with the Thundermax cooling fan, which is available for the Touring M8 models. Lane splitting in California's traffic and heat gets the motor oil hot, but with the fan, I was able to keep my bike's temps in the safe zone. Check out all these amazing products at shoptmax.com. And when you're ready to make the upgrade, use FASTLIFE at checkout to save yourself 10%. Now let's get back to the show. That's what was kind of like funny about yesterday when we, when I was hitting up Jerry, I was like, hey, are we good for this podcast? And he said, yeah, let me know where you want me to go. I'm like, bro, I'm on my bike. So if I need to go know where you're at so we can come do a podcast where you are, he's like, fuck, man, because I guess Lisa was sick. So he's like, well, let me, the gym closes at 7:30, so we can just use the gym. And I'm like, all right, here I'm fucking bloated. I just did a pitcher of beer down in fucking Oceanside. And then we get there like 15 minutes early, and there's a McDonald's across the street. I'm like, man, I need to sober up a little bit before we have a podcast. So I get a fucking double cheeseburger and some French fries.
Oh, no.
And then we go in there, and then we buy a fucking 12-pack of Coors Light. And he drank some with us and shit. But it was just like, I feel like part of me did it for the laugh, but at the other side, I was like, God damn it, dude! Like when you're in the gym and you're just seeing the weights, it's almost like they're talking to you, like, "Come on, bitch,
Yeah,
get off your ass."
Oh, 100%, man.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good one, man. I'm glad to meet him finally. I've been a big fan of him, of following his page and him and his old lady's bike. I've always loved his FXRs, and now he's rocking the performance baggers. Now it's really awesome. Dude rode, him and Raji and them, they fucking rode.
Yeah, nobody can talk about that crew in their miles they put on. Those motherfuckers ride through some shit, too.
Yeah,
they handle the bad weather. They get down with it, and they do it for one reason and one reason only, for fun. They don't give a shit about doing it to be cool, or they don't care about the credit or any of that. Like, I sent him a couple of messages, and I was like, man, I couldn't keep that schedule because Roji's like, he's out of his fucking mind, dude. Like,
I'm hearing that. I'm probably going to meet him tomorrow for the first time.
Oh,
yeah.
He's everything you think he's going to be. He's that guy. He's the hype man,
Yeah.
But heart of gold, raddest dude ever. There for his friends. real deal dude. Like what you see is what you get with him, man. He doesn't turn off. That guy's on 24/7, and that's that. And that motherfucking dude can ride a motorcycle, man.
That's awesome. His bike looks good too, man. He recently had it painted, I think, by Rhino. Painted the flames on it. Looks pretty damn good.
Yeah. It took a little bit for Rosie to kind of find his style. You know, like he was running those crazy bars for a little while. He was doing it, but it's black flies. Like that's their thing. You know what I mean? Like he could put a leopard skin seat on his bike and it's okay. Like
you pull it off.
He's OC late '90s. You know, like that's the deal. But now, his bike. I'll put it up with anybody's, man. They he found his niche. You know, he's doing it now. I like it. But like I said, at the end of the day, it don't matter what his fucking bike looks like. He outrides everybody, man. Like, they put the miles in, man. And those are old men. Those are old dudes, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those are young cats.
Yeah, they did. Basically, they ripped here all the way to the Keys last year.
Yeah.
You know, then they were going to go to Mitchell, South Dakota to see Clockworks.
So check it out. You're from Texas. Mm-hmm. You know how non-pleasurable it is to roll through Texas. I grew up in Florida. Florida is the worst motherfucking place to ride a motorcycle, man. I know that the weather's nice. That's where that's where I love the warm nights. I obsess over warm nights, like riding at night, t-shirt weather. I love Arizona about it, and I love Florida with that too, you know. But that's where it ends with Florida, is warm nights. It's the shittiest state. There isn't a turn. If you want to, like performance baggers in Florida, where are you performing?
Yeah, just straight.
You're fucking riding straight down the street, man. The only turns are, from like
the
around
south.
there's a little road in Daytona that's good that everybody goes and hits.
Yeah, the wildlife loop or something like that.
Yeah, which is shit compared to what we got, you know.
It's like 3 miles long.
Yeah, and then there's in West Palm. There's a few like around Lake Okeechobee and all that stuff. They got a few turns there, but other than that, the entire state is built like a grid. It's the retirement capital of the world. So you every light you got to worry about getting fucking rear-ended by someone who can't see over the steering wheel or they just died. You know, it really
There's
is.
a lot of bikes down there too, man. It's a big bike state.
Yeah, I mean, as it kind of should be. You know,
all year riding.
I mean, that's where I got my start. And I'll tell you this though. Here's the other thing. You know, if you catch the right night ride down to the Keys, fuck, man, that's some Dave Mann painting shit. You know, like it is beautiful. It's as good as it gets. From Miami to the Keys, if you don't catch any rain, you don't catch any shit weather, wind, it's a real windy. You tend to ride through a lot of wind there, which, you know, no one likes riding in that shit.
Yeah.
You know, being from there, I've caught that ride, you know, dozens of times. And it was the best fucking 3 hours of riding you're gonna get. It was beautiful, but like those dudes did that, and when they got to the Keys, I just remember thinking like, I would just want to fucking stay there for 2 weeks after that ride and just recover. They didn't stay very long. They stayed like
2 days.
Yeah,
and then they were up at. I think they got unwanted but necessary break in Atlanta. They had some bad weather that kind of trapped them.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. They were like running from the Waffles House to the hotel or whatever the fuck because a storm was coming in. Yeah, those people say that those Sturgis Midwest storms are no joke, and they aren't. I mean, I've ridden through them; they're fucking horrible.
Oh yeah, they're gnarly because you get the high winds.
Yeah,
and there's no shelter really. I mean, when you're out on the highways, like there's not overpasses. It's just like straight up, like stop signs for the cross traffic.
Yeah,
like,
you get fucked up. But I'll put the southeast random storms against Sturgis any day. They're bad, man. You get stuck in some bad shit there. But at least we have the overpasses over there.
Yeah. Man, this trip, you know, when we left Dallas, we went straight up into like Monument Valley, Four Corners area, and then we cut straight over, hit we wanted to see Area 51, did that. Mammoth, went to there because I've never ridden any of the east side of the Sierras.
Oh, nice. Mammoth
fucking
is
beautiful over there.
Man.
Yeah, it's really badass. Then we hit San Francisco, went straight up the coast to Washington, and then cut over to like Spokane, and then dropped down to...
You did the ride that I've been wanting to do for a while.
It's been epic. We caught, you know, as expected, we caught a lot of rain up northwest.
Yeah.
You know, Oregon, it was pretty wet on the coast, and then We got lucky in Spokane. We got lucky down to Missoula, Montana, which is a fucking bitchin' town to go to. You know what I mean? But then Idaho was hands down one of the sickest places I've ever ridden a bike. And I don't know if it's the roads or just the scenery, but there was one part we were riding through where it felt like some like Scotland shit. Like I felt like this is what the north part of Europe or like the fuck New England, whatever the fuck that island is that London and all that shit is on. It felt like some shit like that you would see, just super green, the hills, the deep valleys.
Yeah.
It was fucking beautiful, man. All in the rain. I was still like, this is the best part of this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the towns, every other town is like gentrified into some kind of little mountain ski town.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get to the town, there's people there that's like, looks like they are also visiting, so you don't have a weird locals vibe kind of thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good restaurants, good places to go have a beer if you're into that and things like that. So I've enjoyed it, man.
God, I'm so overdue, man. You know, I'm so
Boise.
I haven't like since Sturgis 75th I rode home from that, which was an amazing ride. Did Four Corners.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten some decent rides, but I haven't done like a 2-week fucking get out and just ride. It's so long.
It's hard. I mean, for you, I can imagine that would be so taxing with all the different dealings you have. Unless you can kind of do it to where you can kind of like section it off into handling that like every couple of days. You'll just spend a day just knocking out shit you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
If I had a regular 9-to-5 job, I would be able to just plan it and take the time off. Or I don't get vacation time. I don't do the. I work for myself, you know. So if I have a choice between making something happen or fucking off on my bike, unfortunately, I pick making something happen. Man, I hate that I'm programmed like that, but I mean, maybe I'll start slowing down eventually. I keep saying I feel like I might slow down, but I just can't, man. I grew up too fucking poor, you know. Yeah. So it's just it's like an addiction.
Yeah, it's hard not to take opportunities when at one point in your life that's all you needed.
It's kind of like you know how you measure your self-worth too. You know, like the day my phone does stop ringing because companies don't really care to work with me anymore or anything like that. Like that's going to be a check of like, hey, listen, dude, you got older, new blood came in, whatever. Like this, that's going to be a tough thing to face. You know, like I'm not ready for that yet. I haven't mentally prepared myself for that. Yeah, you have to. There's times like points in time in your life you have to prepare yourself for.
Well, I feel like the motors, if you're referring to anything of like your dealings in the motorcycle industry, I feel like as you get older, there's a lot of like respect towards that, right? That you're still involved. Yeah. And so, you might not get like the model gig like some of these stunt rider kids get, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, being an OG in the motorcycle scene holds weight, you know what I'm saying? If you're still active. Yeah. So
I get uncomfortable when people say like, "Oh man, like, yo man, like, you know that black and silver bagger, you did that in 2013, like, fuck yeah, you think?" And I don't even like talking about times or any shit like that. But maybe when I'm an old man, you know, when I'm truly like nobody gives a shit anymore, then I'll be like, "Hey, you goddamn kids, you did it in 2016. I did it in 2000." Those dates will mean a little more to me, you know. Like, oh, who's that? Oh, fuck that guy, you know. Chip? Nah, it wasn't him. It was me. Too funny, man.
But yeah, that's the part of it, man. Like, you know, strive to be there. You know what I mean? Riding a bike is dangerous as in itself. You know what I'm saying? But just shooting to, you know, be a part of these things, and every year seeing you at Born Free is dope. And fuck, man, you know, this is the first time I spent this much time in SoCal. Usually I'm like kind of ripping in and out, right? And we've been here, you know, almost a good week now, and it's fucking, especially like even on this side, like back and forth to San Diego, not even doing rides, not even like hitting none of the hills or the canyons or anything, just ripping through the cities and going to these different areas. It's like, that's fucking fun. Dude, I'm having a blast.
You know, the thing is, it's funny if you think about it, you know, I'm really against saying anybody's lucky because I get super aggravated. I don't like when people say that I'm lucky. Like, all right, that's obvious. We're all lucky just to get up and breathe every day, you know? Like, it's not luck, man. You put the work in. with you, I almost said like, dude, you're so lucky. No, you ain't lucky, bro. You're doing this, bro. Like you get up every day, you find the motivation to get on your bike, go talk to all these people, hit up all these spots. Like, bro, you're doing it. You know, like that's the reason why your podcast is where it's at right now, because you put in the work. Nobody can do this shit for you, man. You know, like you're a one-man gang.
Yeah, it's tough.
Ain't got nothing to do with luck, dude. You made it happen.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. Like I've been fortunate to actually be a guest on a couple of podcasts on this trip. And
did you do one with? I would like to hear you and Speed Kings.
Yeah, I've done Speed Kings on mine, but I haven't done it on his. Okay, right.
Just you and him having a chat because you guys are both brilliant dudes. You know, Steve is on another fucking planet, man.
He's killing everything he touches right now turns into some type of weight of gold.
You want to know why? Because he puts his heart into every fucking thing he does. As corny as that might sound, I don't give a shit. When I think of Steve, that dude does not half-step nothing in his life. He goes for it, man. You know, he's the real deal, genuine article. Yeah. He's not trying to get anything handed to him. He goes and gets it, man.
Yeah, I mean, his FXR build a couple years ago, the one with the Misfits on it, I believe.
Yeah, fuck.
Dude, seeing that in person and seeing all the details of like even the brackets for the exhaust and some of the brackets for the
bike speaks to us, man. That's us.
It is old lady's
shit,
bike,
man. Yeah,
I think it's his old lady's bike too.
Yeah,
and that one was a badass. And then I'm excited to see this trike he's doing. We were going to do a podcast together, but he was really just busy with this trike.
You didn't see the picture he just posted. He finally posted a full shot of it. You know.
Yeah, all the stuff's been kind of half shots and shit. So
he just did a full shot this morning, I think, and. Yeah, it's what I expected, man. What I like about him too, with Steve, my experiences with him, everything he says he's going to do, he says he's going to do something for you. He says he's going to, his follow through, and the way the guy treats every person in his life like that's the only person in his life that he's got to take care of. Yeah. Somehow he don't leave nobody hanging, man. You know, he's a man of his fucking word, dude.
He texted me at like 7 this morning and is like, "Hey, man, just so you know, I got those Born Free passes for you." I'm like, "Thank you, fuck yeah," because I don't need them now, but I got another homie that needs them. So it's like,
and he didn't forget. And if he did forget, you couldn't blame him. It's Born Free. Everybody's fucked up right now. You know,
everybody's scrambling to get there and shit.
God, you know, it's crazy. You just said that too. I had this reliever. I've got to have my bike. Of course, me and Chip fucking argued this week because, you know, I like to come to Born Free and fuck off. It's not really work for me.
Yeah.
But it is work. Vans is here for one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, you know, the Japanese distributors and stuff, I'll be walking them around like they're heavy Tokyo bikers, dude. Like they get down with it. They're the real deal.
I got to meet the people from Moon Eyes.
Oh, yeah,
kinda. They were at Yanni's shop over there in Hollywood or whatever.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So with them, like, you know, I got a list of shit I got to handle for Vans. I obviously feel obligated to just hang with Chris, you know, and make sure everything's cool. The FXR division booth gets mobbed, you know.
For real.
And then also I walk back and forth to SDC. Well, Chip was just like, "Yo, you got to be here at fucking crack of dawn because they're gonna put my bike up on one of their stands." I forget that's one of their builds. You know, that's an SDC bike. Where usually I'm used to rolling in on my bikes where I just park wherever the fuck I want. I park it in the show, but I don't enter. I park it in front of wherever I want to park it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I got no responsibility in that world. And Chip was like, "No, bro, you need to be," and it's going on one of our lifts, man. Like, he's proud. That's one of their builds, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I made it seem like, "Hey, dude," I made the mistake of being like, "Man, I don't really remember seeing a San Diego Customs paycheck come with that bike," you know? And he was like, you could tell, he didn't even have to say it, but it was like, you know, he built that bike for me, pennies on the dollar for the most part, you know?
Yeah.
I better show respect, and I better be there, man. Like, I just forgot, you know? Like, Chip hooked me up. I owe him that, at the very least, you know? I should be working the booth and selling T-shirts and this and that. So that's why I was
just be in the booth, shaking hands and kissing babies, man.
Man, whatever I can do to show support. That was the first time in a long time I ever felt like a spoiled kid. I forgot, you know. Like, yes, money changed hands, you know, when I was getting that bike built with them, but definitely not anywhere near what
Yeah.
I should have been spending.
Yeah.
And how quickly we forget, you know. But when
Yeah,
when I pulled up into the driveway here, Chris walked right up to me with a vendor band,
pass.
you know.
Nice.
And I was like, "Oh, thank you." That was one less thing that I have to think about now. And, and there's big Chris thinking of me, you know.
Yeah. Fortunately, I didn't know what was going to happen, but through the last couple of months, I've been building a kind of relationship with Bassani, and so
I saw that post.
yeah. It was cool. I did a podcast with him. That was amazing to sit down with old Daryl and hear some of that history.
Yeah,
Dude's passionate about like what all these stunt riders and this whole scene, how it's kind of came. Dude kind of teared up talking about how like proud he was of how this whole thing has kind of turned into what it is over the last 7 years, and probably rightfully so. It really probably helped. I wouldn't say save their business or anything, but it definitely helped boost their
absolutely
brand.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
They're in the game. They're in the performance game. Their pipes are quality. Funny thing about Bassani is I always ran thunder headers no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if somebody wanted to give me, I was offered pipes for my bikes, and I'm like, no, bro, that's the thunder headers. Just sound to my people.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You know. And I didn't care that they were breaking in half. I got Justin. He'll fix it. You know. And then Bassani, if you run fueling part stuff, they highly recommend Bassani pipes with their stuff. They build it like, you know, and this is where you're going to get the most out of your tune. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, I run Thunderheader. And Luke from Fueling Parts is like, not anymore. And he goes, you're going to run a Bassani. And I go, God damn it. I go, all right, well, I guess I'll just pay for a pipe I don't want then, you know. And he talked to him, and he told him that it's going on my bike and this and that.
Yeah, yeah.
And somebody that I never met at Bassani said, oh, no, we're not going to take money from him. Like, we're stoked he's running that pipe. Just give it to him and tell him to do what he does. You know, hopefully he likes it, you know. And I did like it. It sounded great on the M8. I know I don't like Bassani's on
twin cams?
On twin cams at all. They're too fart canny. Mm-hmm. But on M8s, which is the future, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, dude, I'm such an M8 fan. They sound great.
Yeah.
They work great. The quality, just getting used to the fit and finish of like every time I'd look at that, I'm like, the pipe still looks brand new. And I've had this bike for a year where Thunderheaders look like you fucking
sandblasted it.
Yeah, it's just straight up, man. Look like you wreck your bike every day and park it in the ocean. That's what they look like after a year. But
yeah,
you know, I was highly impressed. But what was funny is they never. I hit them up multiple times on social media of like, hey, here's a good photo where you can see the pipe looks good. You know, you guys want it, and they never reposted the bike, never asked for anything, nothing. They got nothing. They gave me a pipe and got nothing out of it by their choice. It really was a free pipe, you know. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird, you know. But
you feel obligated to do something, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe their social media guy just slept on it or I don't know. You know, they did. You know, they would answer my DMs. You know, and I just make sure that I got stacks of thank yous. Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to make sure they know I'm grateful. The gratitude. You know, they gave me a $1,200 pipe for free. Who the fuck am I? You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was weird how there was no. They really. I'm like, man, are they that real? You know what I mean? Like they genuinely just wanted that pipe on my bike for no other reason than let's give them that. Let's hook them up. Mm-hmm. So, man, what a cool brand. You know, I went with this time around. You know, HPI works so closely with San Diego Customs, and they have that 128 tune through that pipe. And I'm telling you, man, it's weird to say this. That's my favorite sounding bike. Mm-hmm. I never thought I'd say this about any M8 bike. Yeah. That sounds better than any of my, I mean, I've had them. I've had cone shovels, built Evos, 1,000,001 twin cams. Yeah. That bike on the D-cell sounds so fucking good, man. In between gears. Yeah. It's frightening. The cold start is awesome. Like, yeah. It just rips.
Dumps. It dumps, yeah. So you got to be there at 7 a.m. too, basically?
Is it 7?
You got to have it in there before 8 a.m.
I'll tell you
like
this.
Try to get there at 7.
If you want to see a good argument or an entertaining fight, go to the, I mean, obviously it's going to be too late. It's going to come out after, but anybody who's standing around tomorrow at fucking 7 a.m. when I pull in with my bike, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in with the bike, park it in front of the booth and walk away from it and just have them, you deal with it. Because the thing that they're pulling it onto is so janky.
Oh,
they're I'm always worried a bike's going to
displays.
Yeah, those are horrible, man. Like that was definitely built. One of those, I think they were all built by Chip, on his lack of sleep, because they just look like they're going to fall over without even a bike on them. It looks unstable. So I'm not riding my bike up on that. I'm not starting my day out with a crash or any of that.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You guys want to do that? You go right ahead. That's on, Chip and Mikey and so on. Have fun. Yeah. You got me here at 7 a.m. That's all you get. And I know it's going to turn into a fucking...
See, I got to do the same thing. I got to be there at 7, and the Bassani booth is on the back end of the show, like past the ramp on the very back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That area. Ooh,
So
that's the hottest area, too.
I know. So
all that grass, it makes it so much more, like, humid.
And so he said, Gary, the guy that runs all the stuff at Bassani, was like, yeah, sometimes they don't want you riding through, so you kind of got to push it from the gate. And I'm like, fuck me, you know what I mean? And we don't get in our Airbnb till tomorrow. So I still got the tour pack and all that shit that I'm going to take it off when I get there.
Yeah.
But I have a complete filled tour pack. I've got pants, socks, and underwear and an extra pair of Vans in one bag. I got T-shirts, a hoodie, hat, and some cleaning supplies in another bag. So it's like filled to the brim on each side. And, that's been the hardest part about this trip is keeping the motherfucker clean because I know that it was going to be in Born Free. And I tried to hit up this detailer dude out here, but not to his fault. It was my dumbass. Like, hey, man, it's Friday before Born Free, and you detail bikes. So
who did you hit up?
That Mike's detailing guy.
Okay, I don't. I've heard of him, but hands down, the best kept secret detailer in the world. You want to get your bike detailed by this guy just to kind of watch him work.
Yeah,
you might learn something. AJ at Black Diamond Detail. He's down in Dago. He's been keeping all of our bikes clean for everybody with a nice bike. You don't. I enjoy detailing my bike.
For real,
I'm decent at it. If you want to keep your bike clean, I live on. You see where I live? I live on the beach, man. Like, how are my bikes not all fucked up looking from?
When we rode through there and the sun was going down, we got to the hotel. It's like you got this.
Yeah, you got a film of salt on you.
Yeah, it's that film.
Your bike gets that too.
Exactly.
So when I get back, every time I ride, I wipe the bike down, this and that. But the trick to having my bikes are always showroom clean, man. Like your bike is a reflection of you, Mm-hmm. AJ, once a month, he gets down with a full detail on the bike. Everybody in North, he's the secret of. I'm putting everybody on blast right now, but everybody I know with a nice bike, they're on his schedule. So I thought maybe it was him, and you were doing that. Like he's a million steps ahead of everybody else.
I didn't know about the cab, but that's one thing. I as a painter, I don't know much about detailing. I know how to like cut, buff, and polish a paint job.
Yeah.
But as far as restoring paint,
I
know how to do it the expensive way, which is sand it back down, re-clear coat it.
Yeah.
Right. But without sanding it down and repolishing it, like I've never, that shit, when I first started learning this stuff, nobody was doing that shit.
Everybody's into this like ceramic coating shit now, and even AJ's kind of pushing it. But something that AJ is not understanding with me is I've been working with him for 20 years. For 20 years, he's been keeping my shit look showroom, right? And I've never had one complaint. Like, it always looks good when he's done. So what the fuck do I need to spend an extra $700 on ceramic coating for?
Yeah.
Like how much better can it be? Like, sorry, dude. Like you outperformed yourself. I just want to keep doing what we've been doing the last 20 years.
I want that. I want that grandfathered in situation we've been doing. You know what I mean?
Totally. and detailing it's a part of working in with your bills of owning a bike. Like I see guys build these nice bikes and they don't know how to maintain them and take care of them.
Yeah.
And they fuck them up. And man, when you see a front end of a bike look all crusty, that ain't biker shit. That's lazy. That's broke dick shit, bro.
Yeah.
Just ride a shitty bike then. Why disrespect a beautiful bike that you put time in or somebody else put time in and you bought and now it looks like shit,
Well, I think people also don't realize that, like, when you ride a bike, your fork legs, lowers, that shit gets beat the fuck up. And you gotta recoat them every so often.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
what I'm saying?
I'd say every 2 years is when I would be doing that. But yeah, they at the beach, without proper maintenance and care, your bike will look like dog shit in 2 months.
Yeah.
California is the worst. Like, because Florida, I live by the beach too, and it wasn't as intense of a problem. California is your shit gets fucked up. Everything, your cars it's a constant challenge for me from my Impala to the C10, anything that's at the beach, man. You got to stay on it. It's a battle.
Well, one day I made a post like kind of complaining, but there's very little self car washes where you do the shit yourself out here compared to the ones where like you drive through and then you got somebody like wiping down and shit like that.
Yeah.
Or someone just completely doing the wash for you. And for me on the bike, it's like I don't want to pay that dude $75 fucking to half-ass wash my bike.
Yeah.
I'd rather just have their tools and do it myself and give them like 40. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To use their shit. So
well, those self car washes, that's the worst ever, because those brushes, like the
I
dude
never,
that went before you could have been in a Jeep that's all muddy.
So what we actually do is like we'll run by AutoZone and we'll buy like a nice like chamois type like washer, and then once we get the soap to come out of the fucking brush onto that after we wet it up.
No shit. That's
and
a
then
good trick.
we wipe down the bikes. That way you can kind of have that and it doesn't surface scratch everything.
Yeah.
But it takes longer because if you let the fucking time lapse, then you got to throw another $4 fucking in it, and you might only need like $2 worth of time. So you got to kind of stay on it. But my bike just got tore up, dude. Riding the coast, trying to fucking like hoe bath it all the time with some Meguiar's and a goddamn Scotch Brite. It just took all that salt all over it and just scratched.
And
the
you're
fuck
a
out
painter.
Yeah,
You know
and
what
I didn't.
mean? Like,
I didn't
dude.
think about it, man. Running through the rain, like we said, we had 2 days of solid rain, probably 200 miles a day. So that kind of really just, what happens is that powder coat, like it expands the metal so much, and it lets all that fucking like, it discolors the powder coat.
Yeah.
On the stock Harley shit. So did enjoy that, and so when I get back from this trip, it's I'm gonna have to strip down a lot of shit and maybe re-clear coat some stuff, but I'll definitely re-coating all the powder coat on the bike. It's just toast.
It's weird how you said it got milky.
Mm-hmm.
Weather.
Yeah,
Weather will
up,
do
man.
that shit.
Yeah, like I said, man, we're 5,500 miles into this trip right now. By the time we get home, we'll be about 7K on it. And
so check it out. You got 5,000 miles on it. Let's do a little fucking rundown real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your favorite part of the bike?
My favorite part visually is the damn wheels because they just glow.
That's obvious. That's my favorite part too.
But
photos don't do those wheels justice.
I'll tell you this: when I got the wheels, they scared the fuck out of me because they're so loud that I had to redesign my original thought for the paint job to have less gold in it.
Yeah.
Because if I had had a equally as loud gold paint job, it would have just.
Yeah, and gold is something that gets... Gold is beautiful, 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 ugly as fuck.
Yeah.
One step, it just goes from beautiful to, man, you missed the mark. You got to be careful, man. Too much gold is disgusting.
Honestly, man, I didn't know how that was going to look with the black chrome Bassani pipe they just came out with. But for a dark colored pipe, it still stands out above the rest of it.
Okay.
So you can see it there, even though a lot of black is in that area. Lucky Dave's, he's been a big supporter of all the shit we do for years, and he came out with these like nickel coated risers. So I have a lot of mismatched finishes on there, but somehow, like I usually have, I get OCD about that shit. I like uniform, but it's kind of like, I don't know, I dig it. I still like it. It looks good to me, and it's completely off what I would normally do if I was in control of every aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it's weird, man. Like going from, with this podcast growing and my brand growing, you just kind of start getting to this point where you have these brands that have something new that they want to promote or they want to get your taste on it. Like I've been doing test and tune for Bassani on coatings to see how long certain coatings are trashed because of the miles that we put on bikes.
Yeah.
So, and they're starting to get it figured out on some of the dark colored stuff.
Yeah, Bassani fit and finish, pretty hard to fuck with, man. Mm-hmm. highly impressed with their with their pipes for mass produced.
Yeah.
Big company, like they didn't miss a beat.
I think one of the things I want to do, because I'm not married to a lighting company anymore, is I think I might go with those Bajas.
Yeah, as trendy as they are, I mean, let's get real. That's played now,
There's some other brands that are out that kind of look similar, but there's like there's Rigid that looks kind of cool.
So, me being my personal opinion is like what I did. I mean, those Baja design lights on my bike with that paint, with that look, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, man, it's got to be on there. The performance on them, second to none. It's like stadium lighting, dude. It's off. I mean, I off-road. I go and I'm avid dooner. I'm always out in the sun. Lighting to me is important. I've been the most impressed with Rigid light systems in the dunes. For real deal, in the dunes, you don't care what your lights look like.
Yeah.
What gives me that stadium light effect?
Yeah.
And Rigid has always been like, when a pack of dudes with Rigids come through, you see them out there in the dunes, and you're like, Jesus Christ, it looks like daytime out there. Baja Designs is great as well. They kind of they got lucky, man. They fell into this whole thing because
Suicide Machine Co. They did that one in 2019, that Road Glide.
Are those the guys they get the credit for those lights? Okay, I didn't know who started it.
They're the ones. They came out with that. It was a SEMA. It was either a SEMA build or a Born Free build that was going to SEMA. But yeah, that was the first bike that had the Baja designs on it.
Oh shit! I don't remember the bike. But
it was like a red. I mean, all their bikes are like flat black, white, and red.
Yeah.
But it had like a.
Trying to think who I seen do it first. Was it Big Trouble? That dude, Big Trouble. Was it his bike?
Oh no.
You would know.
Yeah.
Well, who did it after them?
After them, let me see. One of my good friends, Big Trouble might have been the one, but on the Road Glide, I
feel like it was just one of those like Midwest dudes that does rad shit. Who's the guy with the rad garage with the fucking? It looks like I should be living there.
Oh, Instav and Kyle.
Man.
We stayed with him last night. He's staying over there in Lake Forest, and
oh no shit! I want to make sure I meet that dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to meet him, man. That dude's fucking living the dream out there,
dude.
Man.
His shop is
shop's insane.
It's insane, but he's doing a lot of the lights. He's kind of working with some other brands to come up with kits because when you buy these lights, you got to have like a wire harness and brackets and shit like that. So he's got the whole kit figured out.
We had to make some
shit.
San Diego Customs, but they were very angry at me for doing those lights, man, because we were gonna do another brand, and when I saw how the bike was coming together and the way the paint was, and I was a little worried at first that Andy wasn't going to use enough root beer because to me that bike is a root beer bike with some gold details in it.
Yeah.
And Andy sometimes will get a little too excited about the bling bling, the crazy. He loves painting bikes for me, even though I'm a pain in the ass. Andy likes the gaudiness, and I'm not afraid. I've never been afraid. But this bike, I actually wanted it to be a little more toned back than what I usually would do.
Yeah.
And I wanted heavy root beer. And then as soon as I saw the way those lights went with the gold detail in the root beer, I said, fuck. Yeah. I called Steve at Speed Kings and was like, bro, what can you do for me? I knew they were on back order until fucking 2050, you know? Yeah. And of course, Steve the Magic Man made it happen, sent it down, pissed off San Diego Customs to no end because they don't just fit on a bike. There's things we had to do. But that's nothing against them because they're not made for those.
Exactly.
We're making them work.
Big Trouble was definitely one of the early adopters of it. He might have been one of the earliest guys on the baggers, but our other buddy, Jeremy, that owns Lucky Strike Designs, he makes filler panels for those things, so it kind of covers the gaps in between everything. And he does a lot of that type of stuff.
I think mine is a Big Bear Choppers one.
Yeah, Big Bear. He was one of the early guys that had brackets for it as well.
Yeah, and of course, like I said, fucking Steve, within like 48 hours, had that shit at my door. I'm like, what the fuck kind of magical shit you got going on there, dude? He really came through because
people
that bike building a bike door in that time period too. That was in the middle of this. Nobody had shit.
Yeah.
I was like, what was I thinking, man? And then luckily, I got parts from guys like Steve.
Yeah.
guys that have these special stashes or special powers, and I worked with the right people. You know, Chip, a phone call from Chip gets shit done as well.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate to work with Chip on that, and so that bike came together a lot slower than I wanted it to, but it wasn't anybody's fault, except there's shortages. You know,
I was scared of that too, man. When I started doing this thing, I've been working with Ness a lot more lately, and they've been a great company to work with. And so those wheels, I was like, all right, man, because they asked me if I wanted to run them a while back, and I was kind of scared to. So I said, all right, I've talked myself into it.
Oh, those are Ness wheels?
Yeah, they're like, I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then they're like, we only have a 21, and I was wanting to not do a 21 on this one because I did a 21 on the last one. And not that, I mean, it looks amazing with a 21 on it, but, I wanted to kind of get back to the smaller wheel.
Really? I'll never go smaller than 21 again. After riding this bike, I feel that's besides the suspension, I feel that the running the 21-inch wheel it
gives it the look that you want. And
I feel the bike, I don't know, man. The bike's taller too. I feel like the bike is it just feels better to me.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. Here's what it feels. It feels more planted on the 21.
Well, what you did, I think what we're all deal with in this thing is that you have this tribalism in performance motorcycles where it's sacrilegious to have a bike like this and you're not scraping the pegs around the corner to certain people. But to certain people, I just fucking love the way it looks.
Yeah, it definitely
and I mean,
looks
trust
better.
me, I can hold my own. I'm not saying I can kick everybody's ass on the canyons, but you're not waiting a couple minutes for me behind you. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going to enjoy it. I try to build my bikes capable of making the long trips and enjoying the roads when I'm there.
Yeah.
Because, I got to go 1,000 miles in every direction to hit some badass shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got to get out of town first before I get to fucking, enjoy them.
Whenever I do anything different to a bike or putting a bike together, I think of the guys that I ride with that are, these guys are world famous. They're known for being the fastest dudes out there, like Lorenzo, the San Diego Customs guys. Like it's a whole nother level, So when I do something, I'm like, am I doing something to this fucking bike that's going to slow me down at all?
Yeah.
Because I can't afford to do that. That's not. I'm going to get left. Riding out to Colorado with someone like Lorenzo will put any bike to the test, any part to the test, any person, because it's just relentless speed the whole time. And you have to think about that when you're putting your bike together. There could be no weak links here, man. We're going to hit corners fast. We're going to be on the freeway fast for long amounts of time.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. That's always my mindset. I use actual people in situations, you know what I mean? Like, will this bike handle fucking 9 hours at top speed,
Not only that, I mean, the top speed and, for that time that you just have to do it where you got that rip back to Phoenix.
Yeah.
And it's 110 outside, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's going to try to avoid that at all costs. But, when I leave on Monday, I'm leaving 4, 5, 6 a.m. depending on how Sunday night goes. And I know it's going to be balls to the wall hot crossing back.
Don't cross Arizona during the day at all.
Yeah,
don't do it in daylight at all.
Yeah,
it's bad right now, dude. It's bad.
When I did my Gold FXR and rode out here, we left Born Free. We rode, we caught. It was 120 in some spots.
Oh my god, yeah. And I love the heat, but 110 is where it's not fun for me at all anymore. I'm miserable.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a dry heat. That's what they say.
You're riding in an oven.
That's what it is, man. But
and your bike starts making different noises. You start hearing more clicks and clacks.
The only reason I'm going to do it is because
you start hearing a lot of taps.
I want to see if that motor has a weakness, straight up.
Yeah.
And if it can handle the heat.
Well, and you're fully warranted on that though, too, right?
Yeah. Other than my computer, I'd have to throw another computer on there and whatnot. Unless the dealership is, because some dealerships will work with you on that because, you're supposed to be running a Harley only tuner on that thing. And of course, with that, you can't get dick for power out of it.
Don't get me started, dude. Fucking Harley being their own worst enemy with that.
But I haven't looked into what there's been this post going around about how Harley's got called out or they're getting forced to handle warranties or they're being forced to, they've been voiding warranties that they're not
Yeah, like Westinghouse or something. Getting rocked. Good.
So yeah, I
good.
mean, I
Stand
feel like,
behind your shit, fools.
Yeah,
come on, man. We're buying these. We're already buying these underpowered, heavy shit wagons from you that are decent bikes, and we're making them amazing. And we're the ones that are making people want to ride Harleys, not you guys. You know?
Exactly.
So fucking when we blow something up, take care of us, man. Jesus Christ, how much
It's
more?
It's easy to tell if it's something that was done by us or if it was just a faulty part in the motor.
Yeah, stand behind your product, man. Have some pride. I don't agree with that at all, man. This is what it is. And plus their marketing now, all of a sudden they've woken up to performance. You know, they finally heard that buzzword. So yeah, man, they need to be standing behind their product, dude. Don't make that the straw that broke the camel's back and made us all start riding Indians.
Yeah. I'm going to hold out as long as I can.
Yeah, I'll just quit riding at that point.
Fuck it. I'm going to get into boats.
Come on, Harley, stick with us, man. Don't make me stop riding motorcycles.
Yeah, that'd be the end. But yeah, so
you don't have a stereo on your bike at all,
man.
You're not that guy.
No, because first off, I don't. There's no cruising really. I mean, when I cruise Dallas, man, I don't know. Like I put it like this, I'm from the big wheel world, so that stereo shit was clown stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was into it. I was doing it. I had a $7,000-8,000 stereo system in a bike at one point in time.
Yeah.
And it thumped. But there's so many things about it that, for me, I guess I'm self-conscious about it now, where it's that vibe where you see this guy that pulls in the parking lot and he's got a stereo blast, and knowing damn well none of us want to hear that shit. Me and you are talking, and all of a sudden we got to wait for this fucking chorus to be over and this guy to finally turn his bike off. Or you see the guy turn his bike on or go turn his stereo on, and then you see him looking in his phone for that song. And then he finds it. Then he turns his radio up and he kind of looks around at everybody. This is how awkward it is for me, because I see that guy. He's like looking for attention, and I'm like, it's cool to have a stereo when you're rolling down the road, right?
Yeah.
And you can hear it, and you can hear it good. It's like riding a damn Trans Am down the road or a fucking Impala down the road.
Yeah.
You want to hear your music, but there's the other side of it where I feel like it's obnoxious.
See, with me, with my background coming from lowriders, you hit it on the head. Like my Impala, I got to have the oldies blasting. You know, it's part of the experience. Like it makes it, it's just that much more beautiful of a situation, you know. I got to have music involved with everything that I do. That comes from like the skateboarding days. Mm-hmm. I've always, the music background for me, it's everything. So I got into it slowly. You know, from putting little speakers on Dynas to, that's one of the reasons why I was like, man, I wonder if I could make a bagger perform like an FXR or a Dyna and be able to listen to music, just have it all, you know, from comfort to performance to, I just always like the look of the Road Glide, the coming at you look, you know. Mm-hmm. I just had it in my head of like, I wonder if that would work. And I just did it and it worked. Like it's got everything. I need music, man. Like if I blow an amp, I probably won't ride. I don't like riding without music, man. It's just a thing. I got to have the fucking, it's got nothing to do with, of course I find humor in like, you know, pulling up somewhere with disco blasting or some old R&B or something that maybe someone doesn't expect. And then a little dance party starts or something, you know. But it's definitely not about, there's no cool factor to it.
You're not doing it for someone else. You're doing it for yourself.
100% for me. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people did it for attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the part that I feel like, you know, you're kind of doing it wrong.
Also with music too, it brings me back to like the memories.
Yeah.
You know, like if I go on a good trip or just a good night rip, I'll remember what song was playing when we were all ripping around, you know, like what was going on that night. That's what brings me back. So the music thing is big for me, but I see how, like looking at your bike right now, no speakers in the bags on nothing. And I'm like, it's just not, that's not for you. It's not your deal. You know?
You can fit a pair of slip-on bands where those speakers would go in the lids. And when you're on a bike trip for 2 weeks, there's nothing feels better than putting on a pair of clean or new shoes on.
Yeah.
Or some shoes that you haven't been standing in for 3 days.
Yeah.
And so I actually bought some, in Boise, we stopped and found a van store and picked up another pair of slip-ons, and they're already ruined now on this trip, but it's just one of those things where like I just wanted another pair of shoes on the trip.
Yeah.
Just so I could these were brand new when I left. and now they look like they've been climbing some mountains and gotten rained on and had plenty species of bugs just destroyed on them and shit like that. So
they hung in there though.
But yeah, no, that space, it's critical, man. The same reason why like a lot of people do the knee cutouts in the tanks. I don't do it because I need the gas.
I'd rather have the gas. I'm already. I don't like that. That's another trend that I think could go away from the bagger thing anyway.
Well, I feel like a lot of people have just been looking for ways to kind of uniquely make these different.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we have a lot more brands coming on board and making parts for it. So the parts is getting diverse enough where, at a Born Free show like we're going to have on Sunday, you might be able to see a lot of different new shit.
Yep.
A lot of similar shit, but there's a potential for some new shit as well. So.
It's rad. Big Chris just walked through the room and like just took the air out of the whole place, dude. Walked by, like gave us like a thug look, like typical Big Chris, man.
I thought he was a nice guy, and just kind of. But anyway, yeah.
It looks like it's food time.
You ready to eat? We did 2 hours, dude.
Think we're good.
Yeah, I'm fucking.
I mean, dude, with us, it's so easy, man. Like, there could be a part 3, a part 4.
Oh,
whenever.
There definitely will be because
I like the updates, man. Because like I said, we did that one. That was quite memorable, man. I was telling you before we got on this thing that people come up to me and more people recite, the first podcast to me on things that we talked about and things that they liked here and the subjects and stuff. And it really wasn't that long ago, but it feels like a different time period, like you said. So it's good to like, we should do this and kind of keep up and update on what's going on and stuff,
I mean, I'm leaning more towards going 100% full time with podcasting and doing paint part time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that means production goes up. It becomes more episodes a year. It becomes more traveling. Obviously, we got a sick ass studio in Dallas. It's all live and shit, but. We know how you guys have a hard time getting on the other side of Rockies over there.
Oh yeah,
so
it's tough for me to get out there. That's a flight.
It's a flight. Yeah. We've flown out a few people, but it's got to be one of those things where, like, we flew out Cruzy. Cruzy's been like our biggest.
Yeah. I saw he was numero uno. He should be.
Yeah, and
that guy needs his own. He needs his own everything.
Yeah, he does. He's a wild man.
I love him, dude.
But you were on the other 2 top ones with San Diego Customs and yourself.
I saw that. That made me that made me happy. That was cool.
Well, for everybody listening, it's for all the people in the rest of the world and the rest of the country that have never experienced the California motorcycle life or even the Phoenix motorcycle life. It's just it's peeling back some of the onion of people's perception of what it is, because all they see is the Instagram brand or the occasional video on YouTube. They just don't get to hear the long form conversation about someone's ideas and backgrounds and perceptions of what's going on and shit. So
I
think that's why it was so insightful for everybody. You know what I mean?
Good.
So, well, cool. Mr. G.
Let's eat.
All right, let's do this. Thanks. Always a good time when Danny G's on the microphone. I want to thank him so much for taking the time to talk to us and just recap the last couple of years since the last podcast we had. I also want to give a big thanks and shout out to the FXR division crew, Big Chris, his wife, and all the homies up there. Had a great time. Loved the food, loved the hospitality, and definitely loved all the stories I was hearing. So if you guys enjoy these podcasts, please, wherever you're listening to it, rate it, like it, review it on these podcast apps if you can. And if you want to, come check out our Patreon. $5 a month gets you set up to listen to a lot of unreleased content from homies all across the country, as well as other stuff we do regularly here in Dallas. And it helps support us so that I can do things like this last trip where we went on the road for 29 days and recorded all these podcasts for you guys to check out. This is a job for me. This isn't something I do on the side for fun. So I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate you in all the ways you support it. And the way this thing gets bigger is by support. So appreciate it. Anyway, I have another great podcast releasing real soon with HD biker babe Amy. This chick rides her ass off and very inspiring, and I'm glad to know her. And I can't wait for you guys to hear all of her insights on riding motorcycles. Until the next episode, have a good one. Peace.